good morning. Thank you everyone for joining today on a Saturday morning. So my name is Xeo, and I would just like to share with you about how I went from being a finance guy and become a game publisher. Okay, just to share with you, I graduated from NUS Business School in 2003. So it has been 18 years since I graduated. So yeah. So without further ado, let me just share a bit, because actually I got quite a bit to go through. But the NUS alumni team was telling me that, okay, please cut down your content too much already. So okay, I'll just do a quick go through. Okay, so this is me and my face. So I am the CEO of Capital Games Studio. Just to share a bit what Capital Games Studio do is we are actually a tabletop, some people call it board games publishing company in Singapore. So we also deal with manufacturing and consultation of board game projects and gamification and game-based learning for board games for government institutions, corporations, and individuals in Singapore. And well, we've done some projects around the regions with Malaysia and China also. So I'll share a bit more about that. Let me just share about the seminar outline. We talk about how I went from a finance guy, started doing this board game business part-time, and now we are doing it seriously. Okay, how do we design a game? How do we do manufacturing? But how do we start with manufacturing? What happened along the way, and how we started to do manufacturing in China? How do we market and sell our games? And how NUS alumni help to connect the dots to help to grow the business. Okay, so the story goes all the way back in 2013. Okay, so at that point of time, I'm still in the finance industry, so I'm doing the usual things like doing a wealth management business. I'm giving talks, attending convention, and sharing with people about my concept of investing. You know, how to do fundamental investing, how to do technical, and how do you look at global macro investing. So along the way, what happened is that I wrote a few books. So I wrote this book with a Malaysian author called 5 Elements of Successful Investor. So my books were selling in popular at one point in time. We did get into the top 10 best-selling at one point in time. That was way back in 2013. So as of now, the book has been out of print, so you probably can't find it anymore. And what happened was that in year 2013, I decided to start an app. Okay, so what has been happening is that during my talks, I have been adding gamification element inside. So I have this very big stock market simulation where we try to let people try to go through certain history of time, and they try to make money out of this simulation. Okay, so they're supposed to invest in stocks, bonds, gold, and cash. And what happened is that I wanted to turn that into an app. So in 2013, what happened was that, you remember, that was the start of the mobile app boom, whereby the government is giving a lot of grants. So we're saying that, hey, you know, I got this fantastic workshop game that I could actually turn into an app. Why not ride on the trend of Angry Bird, and let's see whether we can become a mobile app millionaire. So we went ahead, and I found another of my co-founder who is with me right now. So he's working in Citibank, but he's working in the technology sector in Citibank. So we're also talking a lot about fintech and gamification, how we can use gamification and incorporate fintech together and launch an app. So we created this app called Wongamania at that point of time in 2013. Okay, then what's interesting is that as we're developing the app, opportunity came over at Bursa Malaysia. Bursa Malaysia is basically the stock exchange of Malaysia. So I was an active speaker both in Singapore and Malaysia at that point of time. I was like flying in between Singapore and Malaysia, giving investment talks. And the Bursa Malaysia is thinking to set up investment clubs across all the universities in Malaysia. But however, they are worried about content, meaning that they are worried that for the students, they may not know who to approach to deliver content, and they are worried about finance companies going into universities to sell products rather to deliver good content for them. So they started to ask for a bid for educational provider to come in to help to set up investment clubs all around Malaysia and to provide content to make sure that the students get that get educated rather than get to be sold products. So here I came along to say, hey, I got this game that I'm doing a mobile game. So are you interested in this mobile game? So at that point of time, Person Malaysia is saying that no, they're not interested because they actually had another gamification proposal that they are trying to do something like a motley fool for students in Malaysia. So they say that, can you do something like a board game? We don't have a board game. I say that, okay. Actually, I could retune my mobile game into a board game. So are you interested in that? So they say that yes, we're interested in doing something like that. Can you do something like a board or card game where you can go around and launch it across all the universities in Malaysia? So we went ahead and we converted the mobile app and turned it into this game called Wonga Mania. Okay, so this game, what it does is basically it goes through this economic cycle where we go through recovery, growth, stagnancy, and recession, and we make the players play through the different kind of asset class like stocks, property, and bonds, and we make them buy insurance when things happen. Okay, so what happened was that we went there, we tried the thing with some of the students liked it, and we started mass manufacturing the game, and we started to launch around in Malaysia. So what happened was that we started touring around Malaysia to do this program, and this is actually a 1,000 participant program that we launched in the launching hall of Stock Malaysia. So you can see it's a very big hall. So this is a place where they do the IPO for stocks in Malaysia, where they take a gong and they gong the thing, and then the stock is being launched. So we did a big session over there, and then the program was being kicked off over there. So I spent the next 2 years touring Malaysia, working with the students, and the feedback was tremendous. They say that, you should commercialize this product and turn it into a proper game and sell it into the retail stores. So that got me thinking that, hey, mobile game may not be a good idea, and there is basically a death of board games and card game publisher at that point of time. So what happened in Singapore and Malaysia at that point of time is that most of the game developers from the tabletop side, they went to develop digital game instead of board games, because government is giving a lot of grants on both sides of the causeway. So basically there is absolutely no tabletop developer at that point in time. And what's interesting over in the Western world is that we are seeing a renewed interest in tabletop. And in fact, they're calling it the golden age of tabletop gaming in US and Europe. So what happens over there is that we actually started 2013 Capital Gains LLP as a side hobby, as a side project to run this card game. So why we call it Capital Gains? That's a mistake, because the initial workshop game that we designed is called Capital Gains Game. So we say, okay, let's name our company after our product, the mobile product that we're supposed to launch. It's supposed to be called Capital Gains Game. But of course, that's a bad idea. The rule number one in starting a company is never name your company after your first product, because your first product typically is not very good. Okay, it only takes after many years of iteration that it become better at your product. Okay, so but it's too late in a way that we name it after that, and people got to know about the company. And initially, people thought that we are a VC company, a venture capitalist company, which of course we are not. They're quite surprised to find out that we're actually a gamification or a board game company. Okay, so after a few years going touring through Malaysia and doing a game, we decided that, okay, we want to go into the tabletop game business more seriously, and we decide to redesign our new logo. So you can see the old logo is just a few words thrown together, put a red background, and that's our logo. So we decided to make this more seriously, and we decided to turn it into a private limited in 2015. Okay, so that is the start where we decided to go into the tabletop business for real, for serious. Okay, so after that, from then till now, we also launched a few sub-brands. Okay, we launched this brand called Mercat Games. Basically, Capital Games Studio is in the business of designing serious games and to design educational games, whereas Mercat Games is in the business of designing games for fun. 15 minutes to 20 minutes, those games that you just play, mindless, have fun, and that's it. So over the years, we recognize that there is a big market whereby especially during the COVID lockdown, people are looking for entertainment that they can play with their families and friends for small groups. So we decided to launch that, and you can now find all these games in NTUC and 7-Eleven. We also decided to go into distribution. So what happened is that over the years that we have launched our business, we came to figure out how distribution works, how manufacturing works, and how to distribute the games. So we decided to help fellow Singapore game designers to launch a platform whereby we can help them market and sell Singapore games within Singapore and abroad. So we created this Singapore board game design during COVID-19. Okay, that's when a lot of the shops closed down in Singapore, and traditionally board game publishers relies on retail to sell. So we help them create something like a consortium to go into bargain for a better rights among the retailers and to have an e-commerce presence. Okay, so these are actually all the games that we have developed over time. There's more, but those projects never made it, or we have turned it out of print. So every year we are like launching a new product every year. Okay, so we also won quite a number of awards over time, especially cryptocurrency and Tabzilla. So we won this award, Serious Play Award, that is based in US and Canada. So this award is to award games that are outstanding in gamification in difficult subjects. So cryptocurrency is a game that we create to simulate the cryptocurrency, how mining works, how trading works in cryptocurrency. So we also won a UK award by Imagination Gaming. So this is also an educational game award based in UK. So the second game that we designed is this game called Tabzilla. So this game also won some awards in UK and US. This is basically something like a Marvel universe whereby there's this monster. Instead of fighting Thanos, right, you're fighting this big monster called Godzilla, and it's a cooperative game. So it's quite revolution in terms of educational games because a lot of the educational games are competitive games. So it's one of the first few cooperative game that you come together to work together as like superheroes to fight this dead monster. So what's interesting about this game is that in this game, your heroes are actually quite poor. You need to borrow money in order to buy gadgets, buy uniform, all these kind of things to upgrade your hero. But the problem is that every time you borrow money, you make the final boss bigger. So that's how it works. And then this year, we won another award called Dirty Money. This game basically is more of a money laundering educational games because in the last few years, there has been quite a few major money laundering cases around in Singapore, Malaysia, and around the world. So there has been some people asking us, hey, Xeo, can you make a very boring subject like money laundering, whereby people sit in a workshop, they just fall asleep. I'm not really fall asleep, right? They turn out halfway through, and can you make it interesting? How you can teach people about the few stages of money laundering? Then we say, okay, let's go about this. Challenge taken, and we launched this game called Dirty Money. Okay, so over the years, as our games launched, what happened was that government sectors and corporations start to take interest in the work that we do. They say that, hey, what you're doing is very interesting. We do not have actually a very good game-based learning company in Singapore that can help to do tabletop games. Okay, the problem with mobile games is that currently mobile game development is very expensive. To develop a mobile game for education takes anything from 40,000 to 6 digits. Okay, so board games in a way falls somewhat in between, where we can do a simple games for 5 to 10,000 to a more complex serious game learning for 10 to 30,000. So we fall into a very good market whereby people want to gamify their material, but they do not want to spend like 50 to 100,000 doing a digital game. And they just want to do a tabletop game where we can still have fun and at the same time deliver good content and improve memory retention. So since in the last 3 to 4 years, we see a huge boom in demand for gamification tabletop games, and we have worked with very interesting organizations, including Interpol, which is an international organization. So we work with Sentosa, and of course, Ministry of Education is one of our biggest customers. And just for those who are not very familiar with serious game, what is a serious game? Because I've been talking about serious games all the way. The simple idea about serious game is an educational game, but educational games has very different segment to it. So in a serious game, there's learning, there's a simulation, and there are games. So serious game is the design of games taking all these 3 considerations and design a game from scratch. Okay, so people are asking me, Xeo, what's the difference between gamification and serious game learning? Okay, so if you look at these three categories, there's the first game. You get the game, you play, and then you just play for fun. And we have gamification, which is a buzzword in the education sector right now. Okay, gamification and game-based learning, the difference is that for gamification, you have a set of education slides ready, but you want people to pay more attention. So you give them points, you give them awards, you do kahoots to make them pay attention. So the game is basically designed around the set of slides you already have, and it's just a additional a set of things for interest. However, for game-based learning, what happens is that you design the education from the game with the purpose of education, meaning that you look at before you design the game, you look at what am I supposed to teach. Okay, then I design the game around what I want to teach, rather than gamification. So game-based learning takes a lot more thinking before we go ahead to design a game, and you need to design the mechanics team according to what you want to teach. Okay, rather than you try to add in things on the things you want to teach. So that's the difference between gamification and game-based learning. Okay, so back to the game again. So when we design our games, we look at the objective for, let's say, cryptocurrency. How can we help people to learn about cryptocurrency using our board games, whether in terms of the arts, the theme, and the mechanics? How can we reflect the real world mechanics of cryptocurrency? Then at the same time, when we try to reflect the real world, we try to tone down what is good in the game and what's bad in the game. Okay, one of the main reasons is, why do people want to play a game? Okay, they want to escape from reality. Okay, why do people want to go for education? Because they want to learn reality. So the problem with these two concepts is that they are actually inherently in conflict with each other. People play a game because I want to escape. People want to learn about the real world. That's what we call education. Because in the world, real world sucks. They want to escape to the game. How do we merge these two conflicting concepts in such a way that we have somewhat like a form of escapism, but we also give them education at the same time? Okay, so that is where the difficulty in designing, whether you are designing education or designing a game, you need to take these two conflicting concepts and to try to merge them together. Okay, so we go into the world of game designing. So when we first started the game designing, we had no idea how to do a game. So we naively just try to design something and we try to do it. So sad to say, our first product is a relatively good product, but it was not a fantastic product. I'll share a bit more later when we start to market this product outside of Singapore. So how many people do you need to do in a game? These are all the people that you need. You need a project manager to manage the whole project. You need a game designer to design the game. You need an illustrator to illustrate everything inside that. You need a UX UI designer to design packaging, to design all the different aspects. You need a copywriter to write about the rules of the game. Game testers, procurement manager. Where do you get all this cardboard, wooden meeples, dice, plastic, everything around the thing? Where do you find for this? Legal advisor. You need to have contracts with your game designer, illustrators. You need to have contracts with your distributors. You need to license your game overseas. So there's a lot of contracts you need to work through where we go through all these kind of things. Logistic manager, shipping, warehousing. So shipping is a very big headache right now, especially during COVID, because there's so many disruptions going on. How do we get around all these problems using shipping? And then we have distribution, whereby how do we distribute the games to the stores? How do we convince the stores to take our games? So in just a board game company, there is a lot of hats. And sometimes each of us take different hats at the same time to work out all the different aspects. Of course, we are talking about finance also. I can put finance inside there. There's a big important aspect of finance over here. But I will talk about that later. Okay, so game design flow over here is that we have, how do you make a game? So you design a game, you review the game, you have approval, and then you start to do with factories. I'll give a quick overview of how do we go through, and that has to do with my journey from being a finance guy into a product guy. Okay, so we learn about how to design mechanics. So that's where we learn about game design. So you have to remember, I'm a finance guy. I deal with designing products, finance products. I deal with structuring products. I deal with advising customer how to invest money. So in a way, you can say that the stock market is a big game. Okay, you can call it casino with a better chance of making money, because in casino, you probably will never make money because the odds is against you. Okay, in the world of investing, it's something like a very big casino where you bet on stocks. Okay, when betting on stocks, it's either you win or you lose. Okay, so when the stock goes up, if you are long in the market, the stock goes up, you make money. If you are losing the thing, you are losing money. So it's something like casino. You are betting on the big and the small. Okay, whether you make it or you don't make it. So in a way, the whole stock market is a game, and how the thing about learning about the stock market is how do you game the stock market such that consistently the odds of the stock market is with you, such that you can make consistently good money over time. So taking that into the design of games, how can we turn the whole stock market experience into games ourselves? Okay, that's where we look at game mechanics. Okay, so game mechanics is like your notes in the piano. Okay, it talks about how to play the game. It talks about how to mix and match from a wide range of mechanics, how to match the target preference of the market, and this is a whole lot of a whole kind of mechanics you can have. So most of us, when we play board games, we started with Monopoly. So you take a dice, and you roll, and you move the person along. So this is what we call a roll and move mechanic. Okay, so you see in the world of mechanics, there's so many mechanics. It's the same thing like piano. There's so many notes on the piano, but why are there so many songs that's being played from all these things? It's because you take all the different notes and you combine them together to create a unique final piece. It's the same thing with a board game. So you take a lot of different mechanics, you put them together to create a unique games. So after that, what we do is that we do all the prototype testing. We make strips and papers and we try to testing. So we do in-house testing. We test with client, we revise, and then we keep on revise, we go back. So this is the most consuming part of the game design. We keep on doing a lot of testings. Okay, then after that, we start to create the look and feel of the game. We do creative direction. How do we design the feel of the game? We look at user interface. We start to look at, what kind of the cards, what kind of cards we want to design, what are the colors you want to use, what kind of symbols you want to use. Every single icon, the words, the font, how are we going to design every single card, the board of the game. Then we do something like a conceptualization of how we want the packaging to be like. We look at packaging design. So we work off a few ideas. Then from there, we work with the illustrator to we outline the thing. And then we ink it to have a more definite outline. Then we color it, and then we put it out in the market as a final product. Okay. And then after that, I think I'll just go this quickly. In case you want to get artists. So previously when I finance world, I have nothing got to do with artists. And I realized that the world of artists and finance is very different. So one of the artists I commissioned is that I want to ask her to design a headhunter. Okay. So from the perspective of corporate world, headhunter, it also talks about HR. We talk about a person who helps to look for jobs for you. But to the world of artists, they deal with science fiction, they deal with fantasy. They thought that a headhunter is actually a person, an assassin trying to kill someone. So when I said, okay, please draw a headhunter, they actually drew an assassin for me. I said, no, this is not a headhunter. I'm not literally going after the head of somebody. I'm trying to get someone who help to hunt for a job for someone. Then they go, oh, okay. So when we work with the creative world from the finance world, we have to remember that we are coming from a very different world, that we work on different things. So what we talk about may mean something that is very different to that. Okay, so we went into the world of arts. Initially, I thought that art is very cheap. I said, okay, like $20, I can get a piece of art. But the gist of it is that it's quite different. Okay, so initially when I look at this art, I said, okay, I just get someone draw $20, good enough. I go to those freelancer.com, $5 can get one art already. Okay, but the truth of it is very different. So look at this art, guess how much it costs. Okay, so if you think that you want to, I think I don't have much time, so normally we'll do a couple, but I'll just go through quickly. This art actually costs around $50. Okay, this kind of art, how much do you think it costs? Okay, this actually costs around $150. And then you see those very nice art in Magic the Gathering, those you see in Facebook. Like, wow, this is nice, realistic art. Guess how much does this piece of art cost? Okay, this actually will cost you around $400 to $500. So imagine that you want to do a card game with 30 cards with high level cards. Okay, how much would that cost? So 30 times 400, that costs you easily $12,000 just to commission a very good artwork. And we are not even talking about graphic design. We're not talking about packaging design, all this that will have a cost. So the thing is that making a board game or a card game is very expensive, and art is actually part of the cost of making a game. So we didn't know about that until we started to go inside the world of creating. Then we start to talk to different artists, how much it costs and kind of things. Okay, so then after that, we create an initial prototype. You want to create a prototype to test with people first, with all the images there, before we go ahead with the mass manufacturing. So this is one of the prototype that we created with cryptocurrency. This is actually not the actual prototype. So creating each prototype can cost anything from $100 to $200 to $300 for each prototype, because customizing a single board game is very expensive. So one of the biggest misconception we have when a customer coming to us can say, "Hey, can you make a board game for $40?" Then I'll say that no, that's not possible. It's like just making the board of the Monopoly itself, right? It's $100. I said, it cannot be, right? I go to the Toys R Us, I buy Monopoly, it's only at $40, $50. You just take that board, you just place a sticker away, lah. What's so expensive about it? So we'll share to them about a lot of things, about the thing of boards kind of thing. Because Monopoly, when they mass produce, they make tens to 20 or hundreds of thousands of units every month. So when you go into the world of manufacturing, where you have mass manufacturing, your cost of the game will go down very lot. It can go down to as low as $5 to $10 per cost price. Okay, so that's why Monopoly can sell to $40 to $50, because the cost price is $4 to $10. However, if you just want to make a single board game, it is very expensive, because everything needs to be customized. All the machines needs to be uniquely tuned towards your product. So all these things cost money, and they all requires a setup cost. So a setup cost can just cost $100 to $200 just to set up, just to create your board. But if your setup cost is a one-time cost and you make tens of thousands of products using that one-time setup cost, your $100 to $200 is divided over tens of thousands of the products you are making. So the cost comes down. So that is one thing that people do not understand when they come to look for us to make a single card game or board game. Okay, so after that, you start to do production mass manufacturing. You need to redesign everything that you have for the factories. Each factories have different requirements, and they can do it differently. So this is just one of the videos of one of the production that we do for cryptocurrency, just to share. Okay, so you can see that this is done in China, in one of the factories we have in China. So although there's a lot of machine, it's still quite a manual labor, because you still need human to do certain sorting and to pasting and all these kind of things. Okay, so that's where the mass production comes in. Okay, so after we do mass production, we talk about distribution, but before we go about that, we talk about our adventures in manufacturing in China. Okay, so we didn't start manufacturing in China. So as like all Singaporeans, when we first start to do manufacturing, the first thing we think of is to go Malaysia. Yes, that's correct. So when we did our first game, okay, if you look at this thing, right, our first game is actually this Wonga Mania that we launched with the Besar Malaysia. We made 300 copies of it. So we actually went to KL to look for a Malaysia factory to make this game. So the process is quite smooth sailing, I would say that, because the project manager did help us a lot. So we made 300 copies of the game. We gave them all our designs. We learned a few things here, and then from there we made the game. Okay, then after that we made our second games. This is the retail edition Wonga Mania, where we started to launch it with board game cafes. We launched it with some education companies that wants to teach about financial education. So we created the first edition of Wonga Mania, and we made 1,000 copies. Okay, what's interesting is that after we made the copies, before you see this big upgrade on the right side, right? We went to this place called Spill Essence in 2015. So we created this game, and we said, okay, it's time to, I think we got an award-winning game. It's very good. Everybody that we talk about the game, we try to say that they love it, they want to buy it, and we should go and sell it to the rest of the world. So we said that, okay, this is very good. I think it's time to go overseas to try to market our game. Okay, so in 2015, we went to Germany, this place called Spill Essence. Okay, this is one of the largest board game convention in the world. Okay, every year they draw 200,000 to 300,000 participants into their game. Okay, and all the biggest board games distributors, publishers, medias will all congregate into Germany. And we'll just spend 4 days across this super big hall. So you can imagine that the whole hall is like Expo. All the halls are all taken in Expo, and there are still some activities running outside of Expo. So that is how big the convention is. Okay, so this is Essence. It's one city near Düsseldorf, north of Frankfurt in Germany. So we went there, we started a booth. Okay, so this is a crowd coming to queuing in to come in on every day. So people are basically queuing in. This is like one of those 演唱会, like, you know, all the kind of the J Chow concert, like that, people queuing to come in. So this is how hot board games is in Europe. Okay, so people come in, we start a very small booth over there, and we have this game over here. We have just one game at the point of time. We have a very small booth and one small table. It's also our first time doing conventions international. So I'll show you the picture later, how far we came on later when we do that. So we just bought a few things. We put a thing, and then we have a table to play. Okay, this is a life-changing experience. Okay, so this is like what I call the Singapore Soccer Premier League. You know the Singapore Premier League, right? Okay, the soccer. It's like Premier League meets the UK, our soccer league meets the UK Premier League. Okay, it's like a small world in a small frog in a small well, seeing a huge world. So when we go there, we look at products. Everybody said that, you know, your product is not very good. It's very amateurish. There's a lot more improvement. Your artwork is not very good. Your whole product, the cards is not very good. The board is very thin. Your token is very thin. Can you go and go about it? Then we walk around the whole place and look at what other people do. We are like mind blown. It's like, holy shit, the product we have that is deemed to be very good and award winning in Singapore and Malaysia is a joke compared to whatever that we see in the international arena. So we went back, we reflect, and we went back to our manufacturer and said that, hey, you know, the product that you create for us is not good enough. We need you to do all these things to be on par on the international world. They say that, hey, I cannot do this kind of cardboard. I don't have this kind of cardboard. I know, but there's no demand for this kind of cardboard, and it will cost you like like $10 just to create this, because this cardboard I need to import from China. I'm saying that, okay, but you're one of the largest manufacturer in Malaysia for all this name cards, all this printing things. Why you cannot do all this? Say, okay, because you need a special machine in order to process this kind of cardboard for board games. That's where we say that, okay, we are unable to do this in Singapore and Malaysia. In fact, we also talked to a couple of Singapore manufacturers. We are unable to do they are unable to do that. We need to go to China. Okay, so that started our adventure over at China, because we realized that we are not good enough to go over there. So that's where we started to look at China for the manufacturing of the third version of Wonga Mania. So you can see that we have the same product and we can improve on it. We didn't have a new product in a way that we wanted. After all the comments from Germany, we went there, we talked about it. Okay, the short comes is that the way how Malaysia does things and the way how China does things is very different. So the customer service of the Malaysia manufacturer is very good. So they take our work and they help us adjust a lot of things in order to be preparing for prints. When we go to China, a lot of things we didn't understand that the Malaysian manufacturers how us do. They also never educate us. So when we went to China, they say that, no, all these things that you have done up for the manufacturing totally cannot be used for China manufacturing. Please do all this before you come to us. They're saying that, you know, we can do this in Malaysia. Why you cannot do it in China? They say that, no, because all this is not manufacturing ready. Your things are not ready for our machines. You need to go back and redo everything for our machines in order for it to do it. So when we do offset mass manufacturing and small scale manufacturing in Malaysia and Singapore, the experience is very different. There's a lot of things that we don't understand and a lot of things we never prepare. So we took another 3 months to half a year to redo the whole manufacturing. And the interesting thing is that we actually did a Kickstarter during that thing, and we thought that if everything goes according to plan with what we have in Malaysia, within like 3 to 4 months, you can get everything out. The whole manufacturing experience in China took us close to a year, and we are totally late for Kickstarter. So We have issues whereby the final product come out, you see the scorecard over here. So this is the printing plate that the manufacturer sent us. The printing plate look like this. The final product looks like this. So they thought about, you know, can we just do this and then just stick put it in a Ziploc bag and then stick at the back of the box, because the box is already all shrink wrapped and nicely packed. I said cannot. You need to unpack everything and repair everything. That took us another 3 more months to do everything. So we are totally late for our launch. Our marketing launch, everything all late, everything pushed back, everything all gone. So this is one big lesson when we deal with China manufacturing. So we also have components that are rusty. So this is one of the tokens we have. So we spot check that and we went back and we do everything. So after the experience, we went on to work with a lot more other manufacturers in China. And thanks to the trade war, when Donald Trump said that there will be a trade war, anything that comes out from China, you'll be taxed. We went on to diversify our manufacturers from Taiwan and Hong Kong. So we still have our manufacturer from Malaysia and Singapore, but they tend to do smaller projects that doesn't require special kind of materials that is needed to be procured in China over that side. So we start to diversify. So now we work with like more than 9 different manufacturers, and we still have smaller manufacturers on the side for other smaller parts for wood, for plastic, and other kind of materials. Okay, so the other thing that we have a headache is logistic management. So we have talked about warehousing. As you know, warehousing in Singapore is very expensive. So we do warehousing in China and Singapore and in Malaysia at one point in time. We also do international shipping. We do distribution management. We do custom and tax and safety standards. So if you are doing a product, every different country got different safety standard, because we're selling this product for children. What are the safety things that you need to take care of before going for able to put it on the shelf? And we have written policies like, how do we do return policies when you sell to somebody in Mexico? Okay, so these are challenges that we overcome over time. I won't talk about logistic management, because if I do a full sharing on this thing, I think I will take like a full day just to go through every single topic over here. Okay, so I'll talk about the next big topic. I'll talk about how do you do distribution and marketing. So if you see our games is inside board game cafes, we have different distribution network in Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, China, Japan, Germany, USA, and Russia. We are also in talks with other countries in Taiwan, in Hong Kong, in Israel. We're also talking about that. So how do we do our distribution, and how do we convince our distributor to take our product? Okay, one of the most important things that we need to do is that distributors want you to do marketing. Okay, because a lot of product designers or board game designers in Singapore is that after they do the product, they just show it to the distributor. They do not do any marketing, meaning that they thought that by sitting over there, or the product sit in Shopee or Lazada, they will just fly off the shelf. So it doesn't work this way. Okay, for those who have done product before, you can know that online is a very crowded world. It's very hard to get your product being seen in Shopee and Lazada. On the shelf space, it's the same thing. Shelf space is very valuable to all the distributors. They'll ask you, okay, so what are you doing to help me move the thing? I mean, if you're on shelf and there's no awareness, it's very hard for people to just buy the product. Okay, it may sell, but can your product sell as well as another product that has very strong marketing support? So that's why we talk about marketing and how do we do PR and marketing? How do we do website? How do we do landing page? How do we do social media marketing? That's another huge topic, but I'll just share a bit about how we do media coverage, because there has been a lot of help from the NUS alumni in getting all this coverage. Okay, because you remember, I come from NUS Business School, so I have a lot of friends that went into marketing and PR. So we get into all this newspaper coverage in Straits Times, in Taobao. We went on Channel News Asia. We went on different material around the world. So I just share with some of the material that we went in Singapore and Malaysia. There are some other media that we went overseas, but since we didn't want to share that because it might not be familiar with that. And then we also kept running Kickstarter. So Kickstarter is actually a pretty good marketing. So these two are another of my 2 co-founders that started at the point of time. So we actually did a lot of Kickstarter to market, because Kickstarter is a very good form of marketing in an international arena. And the other one is, of course, is to attend trade shows and conventions. So remember the small booth we had in 2015? This was in 2019, before COVID hits, and we are banned from doing all the trade shows around the world. International convention is one of the most important place to get distribution around the world. That's where you meet all the media, and that's where you meet all the distributors. You arrange all the different people. So these 4 days, we are not just standing at the booth demoing the games. You are actually going around making appointments with all the biggest distributors, publishers, media to showcase our games, talk to them, all these kind of things. Okay, so you can see that our booth has got a lot bigger. Our marketing material has got a lot better, and we have a lot more games to showcase. Okay, so this is our experience. So having trade show and convention is very important. So actually during this COVID time, these 2 years, we couldn't attend trade shows and convention. It is a big hit to our distribution strategy around the world. So that is something that is sad to say due to COVID. But interestingly, Spill Access this year in 2021, they came back. Okay, but you need to be vaccinated and need to be an EU recognized vaccinated before you can attend the program. So I think Singapore, we are still trying to figure out how to travel for trade shows right now. So I think hopefully in 2022, we can go back to attend all these trade shows around the world. So other than Spill Access, we actually go to trade shows in Hong Kong, Taiwan, China, Indonesia, Malaysia, Japan. So we travel quite a lot around to talk to people, to talk to distributors, and in a way it's quite fun, but it's also very tiring. The first time we go is very excited, but after that you talk non-stop for 4 days straight. You just want to go back and have a good drink and sleep. After the end of the day, you'll find it to be quite tiring after a while. Okay, so we talk to media. So this gentleman is actually from Ukraine. So interesting, we get to talk to a lot of people. This is a game review from Ukraine. So we get to talk to a lot of people around the world. Okay, so lastly, I want to share about how NUS alumni help to connect the dots. Okay, so I come from NUS Business School. So for those who are from NUS Business School, you'll be familiar that we actually got a lot of sub-discipline. We have people from banking or finance, we have people from marketing, we have people from logistics, and we have people from management. Okay, so how do NUS help us at the end of the day? Okay, this is where we talk about the network. Okay, we learn about barcode and how to procure them. Okay, interestingly, when we talk about barcode, I have a lot of friends who are writers. Okay, because I have a lot of friends who write finance books. I also wrote a book, as you have seen. I actually wrote a book, and we have this code called ISBN. Okay, it's a code just for books. Okay, it's not meant for products. So if you want to have products, okay, you need to have GS standard barcodes. Okay, in order for you to sell on Amazon or to sell in Walmart, in all those big supermarkets, you need to have a barcode that is GS or EIN, EAN certified. Okay, so coming from the world of finance, we sell imaginary products. Okay, like we sell a piece of paper around. We don't really need barcodes. So now we have a physical product. We want to put this on Amazon. We want to put this on NTUC. Okay, we want to put this in Popular. How do we actually get a barcode? So I asked around all my friends, a lot of my business friends, finance friends, none of them know because they all don't do the products. So I asked a friend in one of the big brands in one of the fast-moving consumer goods company that manage a lot of products in Guardian and Watsons. I think you know that. I said, hey, you're a brand manager. How do you do barcode? Then she said that, oh, actually, my company just buy thousands of barcode every year. So I don't really know the exact process of getting a barcode. But you can look at all this website to see how to get all this barcode. Okay, you can look at the Singapore GS1. Because I tell her, I only need one barcode. I said, you need one barcode. I don't want to do one barcode because all this barcode all ready for me already. We deal with big picture. So she pointed me in the right direction, and I researched how to do barcode, and we found out how to get barcode and how to put them and all the right things. So all the dimension, how the size of barcode is actually quite important. Okay, learn how to write press release and how to pitch the right media. So we actually have friends that are working in media communication in both the media side, meaning FPH in MediaCorp and in government, and the other side are the corporates. So I went around shamelessly buying copy for them. Hey, how do you write a press release? How do you pitch to the media? How do you talk to the media? Okay, because as a small company, we want to save money. We don't have money to hire expensive PR company. So we do all the PR ourselves. So we need to write our own press release. We need to find all the right journalists, and we need to go to the right event to go to talk to them. And how do we email them the right pitch, how to angle it? So we shamelessly go around doing copy with all my branding friends, Marcom friends, So we got them, some of them, to say, hey, this is my press release, take a look, how can I rewrite my press release? Then they gave me free advice on that. So that is actually very invaluable for us to help us get into the game of getting coverage from media and getting the thing. So just recently, I launched this game called Zombie Life Insurance. Okay, it's a game about there is a zombie epidemic, and you need to buy insurance to protect against a zombie epidemic. So it's a spoof about the pandemic right now, but you just turn people into zombies rather than you die, because dying is a very sad thing, and in some people may really have relatives or friends who got COVID and pass away or things. So we do not want them to do that. So we remember about the thing about you need to have some form of escapism. And zombies is a acceptable for escapism, so we do a zombie. So the game is about insurance education, and actually we got ourselves featured on Asia Insurance Network. So that is an Asia-wide magazine that talks about all the different insurance products around Asia. So that is one thing that I'm thankful for all my marketing and marketing friends. Okay, if you are listening, you know who you are. Okay, we learned how to position and market the brand. So I remember we have a lot of friends who are brand things. So initially, when we started, we are everybody to everybody. So we want to be everything to everybody. So that to everybody, to all the brand expert over here, they'll tell you that it's a bad idea. You need to focus, be sharp in your branding. You need to be what is your position in the market and what do you do, and you need to communicate that razor sharp up in the market. Don't try to be everything to everybody. Are you an educational company? Are you a blogging company? What are you? Okay, what are you trying to do? Okay, so that is what we do. So remember when we started as an education and blogging company. So they are telling us what you want to be. You want to be education or you want to be gaming? You need to decide. Okay. Then we talk about logistics and shipping solution. So when we start to ship goods around the world, we have no idea because we only know SingPost. But now we are dealing with big carton, big pallets of shipment. We ship from China to Singapore. We ship from China to Germany. We ship from China to Japan. Okay, we ship from Malaysia. We ship from China to Malaysia to Singapore. Okay, how do we do all this shipping? How do we manage all our warehousing? How do you do e-commerce? All this kind of thing, because we went into international e-commerce. How do we ship it around, place a warehouse around the world and ship it to them on a timely mode? Because e-commerce these days, Lazada and Shopee and Amazon, they got all these 2 days and 3 days. You need to meet all these 3 days shipping. You cannot be expecting to ship from Singapore to US because that will take a week or 2. And now COVID, it sometimes takes up to a month because disruption in the supply chain management. So I talked to all my logistics friends on how to do all this shipping, and they gave us quite a good education on international shipping. So we also talk about government grants because of startup. So say, okay, if anything can get from the government. So we went to talk to ADS Enterprise on government grants and initiative, and thanks to them, we actually got quite a number of grants from them to help us kickstart off our startup to what we have here today. And then, of course, importantly, internship. Okay, as a small SME, interns are very important to us in both helping them learn how a company works. Because when they come to us, they see how a whole product can be designed from the beginning to the end, to see how we ship the things to work. So actually, interns, they learn a lot from us to see the whole process, rather than they go to one department. In a small department, they just crunch one small things last time. But last time I remember my internship was in IBM, and I was in the printer donor department. My job is to monitor the sales of toner and printers, and to do an Excel spreadsheet to see which one has the best sales. So it's a very small niche market within the whole world of printing and of IBM and HP. So that I learned how to crunch Excel spreadsheet, but that's the thing. So we got a lot of interns from all the different schools from there, and thanks to them, we have a lot of projects that move forward from them, and we also taught them a lot of things. So these are some of the benefits we have from the NUS Alumni Network. So just to end up, my thing is that, okay, if you realize that for this, I started this thing as a sub hustle. As a thing, it came out as an accident. It wasn't that I wanted to be a tabletop game designer at the start of my career. I went in going finance because I want to do wealth management. I want to be like Warren Buffett, but now I'm becoming more like doing a game designer, a game publishing company. So I can only say that when the opportunity comes, you just start with the single steps. and that may lead to a chain effect to get to where you want to go in the future. So I also took 2 to 3 years as a side hustle before I decided I want to do this more for seriously over time. And that is how my journey from finance to game publishing started. Okay, so I think that's the end of my sharing session. And if you want to see more about the thing, so we actually have a blog in the company. I also have run a personal blog. Just to share a thing, I also have blogs that I won awards before, but it's not relevant to this topic today, so I didn't talk about that. So, but recently I was so busy with running a business that I didn't have time to update my blog. So if you want to check out more about the company, you can scan the QR code over there. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the chat in the thing. How to connect? You can scan the QR code over here, and you can add me on Facebook or LinkedIn. Because my name is very unique, I think there's only around 1 or 2 Xeo around the world. Just Facebook, Google, look for Xeo, you'll find me. Or LinkedIn, look for Xeo, you'll find me. Very hard to not look for me. Look for Xeo Lye, Xeo Lye, you'll find me. Okay, and you can find me. Okay, so anything else you want to find out more, you can email me in the company email from the thing here, and that's that. Okay, is there any other questions that you'd like to ask about marketing, product, China, anything that I can answer you? Feel free to type in the chat and I'll try to answer you.
Hi, Xeo. I have a question on online game and board game. I know your experience is more on board game, but how about online games? How different would that be?
I guess I can share with you one story that I started, why I decided to. Initially, along the way, we are actually doing some VR game, mobile application that can integrate with board games, but we stopped developing the aspect. One of the reasons is that along the way, as I developing the mobile game, I made a lot of friends who are also developing mobile games. At that point of time, that was in 2015, 2015. That's where Angry Bird came. My friend launched a game. He launched it on iOS. The game made some money in the first 1 week. After that, zero income after that for the rest of the game. They just shut the game after that. Reason why is because can you guess how many games are being launched on iOS and on Google Play on a single month? Okay, it's around 1,000 games on a single month. Okay, for board games, at the point of times, there's only like 50 to 100 games that's being launched in a single month. So in a way, the competition is a lot less steep and the marketing also less. So for mobile games, in order to punch above your weight, you need to spend a lot of money in marketing. Okay, you need to spend a lot. And when I say a lot, I'm talking about a 6-digit amount in marketing. So you see those successful mobile games, right? It's not by chance, it's by design. Okay, there is a lot of big push behind the thing. So the question is, are you able to secure the kind of funding to outmarket your competitors before your company run out of money? Okay, so that is the problem. Okay, and the other thing for digital game, because there is a lot of problem with freemium right now. If your game is not a free game, okay, people tends not to download it. So in the world of board games, when you look at the two business model, we're looking at it, we are looking at business games like, hey, there is relatively no competition in Singapore at the point of time, but now you see there's a lot more Singapore games right now already because people have caught on that it's actually a pretty good market to be into design tabletop games. And then the thing is that can we outmarket it? Is there a better way for us to market it? Can we get our money back? Because we have a physical product. We know that if we finish all the physical product, we will get our money back. But if we spend 50 to 100,000 developing a digital game, are we quite sure we can get 50 to 100,000 back? So after all this assessment, we talk to a lot of people from mobile people, and we look at our budget, right? Are we looking to spend that kind of money in marketing? And after we spend 50 to 100,000 developing a mobile game, can we convince VC to come in to give us $50 to $100,000 just to market the game? Is it very crowded at the point of time? Is the government, the grant enough? All this kind of thing. So there's a lot of questions that went through our mind before we decide to pivot to tabletop lah, and that's where we stayed lah. So yeah, so that is why we decided to do. But I'll say still that mobile games still has a very big advantage because their distribution is free of charge. So if you see, I got this game, physical game, I need to pay shipping, I need to pay custom, I need to move the thing around the world. And then recently we got a game that is sold out. Okay, our distributor is saying, hey, we need Happy Dim Sum. Okay, this game called Happy Dim Sum is like low on stock. We try to ship in China, manufacture, ship, and now because of COVID, last time shipping from China to Singapore takes 1 week. Now, 3 weeks later, the ship is still somewhere in the middle of the South China Sea. We still have no idea where it is right now. So we are late for the National Day promotion. So the beauty of digital game is that you can put on e-commerce and it's free. Once I create a product, I can sell it very quickly. I can just sell Pixel very quickly to a lot of people around the world just by listing on Steam, Google Play, or iOS. But that is also a competition because you have hundreds and thousands of similar products out there on iOS and Google. How do you punch above the weight? Okay, so that is the thing that you need to weigh. Both have their cons, both have their pro, and you need to weigh what is the kind of money, talent that you have before you launch either a digital game or a tabletop game. Okay. How do you manage to find your current manufacturing in China and the funds needed to manufacture the games attend convention with no sales beforehand? Okay, to answer the second part, funds needed to manufacture games, we do pre-orders and Kickstarter. Okay, so Kickstarter allows us to raise funds before we actually have the money to manufacture the game. So in a way, we are quite lucky for our first game for Bersama Malaysia, because it's a government contract. Okay, we got a deposit first to make our game first before we have the thing. So in a way, we are quite confident that our first game, we can make a profit because it was a government contract. Okay, so subsequently, we start to roll the money and keep on rolling. And then we start to run Kickstarters to make sure that we have enough funds to do manufacturing. And how do we do the manufacturing partners in China? Okay, we very thick skin. We went to talk to the publishers and designers in US and Europe. We said, hey, we are from Singapore. We do not know how to make games in China. Can you recommend me your game manufacturer in China? Or can you give me some hints where to go and which website to see? So coming from Singapore, the Americans and the Europeans, in a way, are quite generous in sharing. The tabletop community is quite generous. So they point us to a few directions. We went to all this factory, we got the quotes, and we started to work with them. Okay, that is how we get our contacts. We are also very apprehensive initially when we work with China. The first thought will come to us, wow, copy. What if this factory take our product, then cultivate, then sell across the rest of the world, then our product will be dead. Can we make them sign an NDA? Anyway, nobody signs an NDA. Nobody signs an NDA these days for manufacturers. So can we make them sign an NDA? How can we secure the IP of product, all these kind of things? So that's where the trade shows, conventions become very important, because that's where we actually trade tips among all the international publishers. Hey, where do you source for all your products? Can you give me your procurement? Can you give me your source? All these kind of things. Okay, so that's how we did it. So a lot of networking basically. Okay, so is there any other questions other than manufacturers? Other than manufacturing?
So do you still take interns, especially young interns that are 16 years old and is into
we just had an intern from Singapore Poly.
Game?
Yeah, we just had an intern that just finished their internship in Singapore Poly. He came in as a graphic design intern to help us do internship. Our last intern is from SMU from marketing also. Yeah, we are still taking interns right now. We already have another intern lined up in September already. Yeah, but because of COVID, there is a limit how we can manage the interns, because it's very hard to manage intern from working from home these days. So last time we used to take 2 or 3 interns, but now we only take 1 intern at a time because of the whole COVID situation. We cannot come to office, and there's a limitation how we can work, how many days we can work in office. Yeah, so that is that also. Yeah, we're still taking interns. In fact, we consistently have interns coming in and out all the time. But now, to be fair, we rotate our internship around the universities and around the polys just to be fair okay, to the rest of the university. Yeah, okay, so that's yeah, we're still taking interns. So if you have interns interested, you tell us the period and what are they interning for. We're basically looking for marketing interns and product designs and design interns okay, because at the end of the day we become a design house in a way. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. Okay, any other people want to share? If not, if there's no more question, I would appreciate you coming, and I thank all of you. I think I exceeded my time by a bit. And if any questions you want to ask me, just throw me a chat on Facebook, LinkedIn, or you can just send me an email through our company website, and I'll be there. Okay, so I thank all of you for coming, and I hope you enjoyed the session, and I'll see you around in future NUS networking events once we get back to the new normal. And I hope to see you all guys in person. Okay, thanks and bye.